Hi everybody, this is Arthur English, and I have some very special guests today. I just want to call your attention to something, because it's very important. Today on the New York Post, Monday, July 22nd, the year 2001, I want to just point to you, hold up an article, and it says, Mom, why kidnap my child? The big headline is this woman a hero or a lunatic? I'm going to have you decide. So right now, I'd like you to meet Dyandria. And Dyandria, welcome. I read the article, and I think the point of this thing is to make a difference for you in the minds of the people who are watching this, whether they be people who have thought they knew, or they thought they knew you, or they thought they knew the story. Why don't you, in the briefest amount of time, state your case?
Well, first of all, I think it's inappropriate to state that I kidnapped my own child. I wrote a book about this case, and if anybody did any kidnapping, it was the government kidnapping my child.
Right.
I'll just brief off the back of the book, which pretty much tells the whole story. This is probably the most horrendous case of child abuse and judicial corruption in New York City to date. This true-life conspiracy and cover-up involves judges, lawyers, the district attorney's office, the police department, employees of the Administration for Children's Services, and the family court. These depraved individuals diligently work together to clear a 20-year veteran of the New York City Police Department of child abuse charges and even child support. They further destroyed evidence against him. Could this be why you virtually never hear about judges, police, district attorneys, or politicians being arrested for child abuse? I think so, and I the point.
Tell us more.
Well, right now, David Lansner, he's an attorney in New York City, found in a comfortable number of women coming into his office stating, my child was abused by my husband, New York City police people, and the court systems were giving these child abusing cops custody of the children. So when this first happened to me back in 1997, I thought it was an isolated case. I thought it was just happening to me. But hearing to learn that it is happening to many, many women who married to police.
What do you think?
It's a blue wall of silence. Is that the term?
Yes.
They do. Whether they beat their wives, domestic violence, or abusing their children, there's a major cover-up. Now, my ex-husband, his name is Gerard Joseph Murray. He violated an order of protection several times. You don't need evidence when you violate an order of protection. I had evidence that he violated it. He was never arrested.
Why wasn't he?
I would think because he's a cop.
Did they ever bring Dyandria into conversation? Was she ever able to speak her piece?
Were
you ever able to speak your piece?
No.
What would you say? What happened for you? How do you feel now?
I feel great now.
Tell me why.
Oh, well, the people don't know the circumstances.
Well, that's okay. We'll find out. So tell us why you feel great now.
I'm with my mom.
That's the important thing. And what does it feel like?
Great.
Yeah, where you belong.
Yeah.
And you've been separated from her for 4 years?
Yeah.
What was it like to be separated from your mom?
Terrible.
You only could see her, what, 2 hours a month?
Highly supervised.
If you thought that you'd be separated from your mother again, what would you feel like? What thoughts come to your mind?
Well,
I mean, this may not be permanent.
I know.
So you have to really say how would that feel for you to be separated?
I don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
I don't want it to happen. It happened before, and I don't want it to happen again.
Yeah.
She had a nightmare the other night that the police had taken her again.
Yeah.
And she just woke up hysterical, crying. It felt really bad to see her in that state.
Yeah. How old are you?
11.
11. Probably feel like you're an old person already with all the experiences you've had, huh?
Yeah.
But you know, but you're very lovely. You have a twinkle in your eye. You have optimism. You have a smile. You look like you know who you look like?
What?
Barbara Streisand.
Ah,
When she was a young, yeah. If you look really closely at you, you look like Barbara Streisand when she was around 13 years old. You know who Barbara Streisand is?
fabulous vocalist.
It's okay that you don't know who it is right now, but what's your talent? What do you love to do?
Sing.
You love to sing. What kind of songs do you love to sing?
I don't, any.
Anything?
Uh,
Is there a song that comes to mind that you like to sing, like briefly? The Freedom Song, perhaps, right?
Yeah, right.
How have you celebrated your last birthday?
I think I had a sleepover
Sleepover. Away from mom or with mom? Away from mom?
away from home.
Yeah.
We haven't had any holidays in the past 4 years. No holidays, not even a phone call on either birthday, her birthday or my birthday. No Christmas, no New Year's. The third foster mother was the cruelest. She was in four foster homes. The third one was Jewish, and she ripped my daughter's cross off. She wouldn't allow any gifts, even no matter how small they were. She wanted to wear bought her a down jacket for last year. It was freezing winter. Wouldn't allow her to wear her down jacket because her children didn't have a down jacket.
Let me just talk about this. You have experienced, Dyandria, being in with 4 other mothers. What's that life? What's that life every day about for you? She's with people that you don't even know about.
It was horrifying with the third one because she was so abusive. She was abusing my daughter constantly. My daughter.
Physically?
No, not physically. Mentally, torturing her, and also.
What was she saying?
She kept saying, "Your mother's mental. You can't go home to her because she's crazy."
Your mother's not mental at all.
I know.
She's mentally brilliant. And she's mentally in love with you.
That's for sure.
You both love each other. Anyone could see that.
That's for sure.
So I mean, you both are like prisoners.
Like prisoners, the reason I portray, there are prison bars over her face. Because it is a prison. Do you know that a murderer has far more rights than a child in foster care? Child in foster care has supervised visits, and you're not allowed to talk. I wasn't allowed to tell my daughter that I had a television program. I wasn't allowed to tell my daughter I wrote a book about her. She would have her letters screened, before she gave them to me. They criticized her letters. She wrote a letter to her attorney, and they lambasted the letter, stating that she had no right to give this letter to her attorney. But unfortunately, I was able to get it on court record, so.
Do you need a pardon? What do you need?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, what do you need?
I think that these criminals who are running children's services should stop what they're doing, stop stealing children that were never abused by their parents, and stop turning children who were abused over to the abuser.
That's right.
Because they're trying to take my daughter and hand her over to her father. Her father not only seriously abused her 4 years ago, but he abused her in many different ways, which we don't want to get into the details of the abuse. But he also killed her dog. This man is sick. He kicked her little Yorkshire Terrier down the stairs and broke her neck because he was angry the dog wouldn't come to him.
Is that true, Dyandria?
Yeah.
You see it? You saw the dead dog? What was your feelings when you saw the dead dog?
It was sad. Because she was my own dog.
And what was the dog's name?
Gwendolyn.
And how long did you have Gwendolyn?
I think about a few years, I'm not sure.
And how old were you? 8, 6,
Like
7?
4, 3, 5, something like that.
Yeah.
She was exactly 6.
You still have your show?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Even though I'm on the Lam, I put in all the programs in advance because I knew I would, and I have other people that will continue to
Well,
run.
there's another producer here, and his name is Ozzy, and he's got a show following ours, and he was very kind enough to allow us to use his studio time so that we could get the story out. If you have the time, not only do I want to thank Ozzy, But I want to also say maybe Ozzy could interview you, and maybe he could ask you questions, because he knows what they are. He's got more experience. I'm listening with my heart and my ear and whatever God wants me to hear for you, because that's really what I want. But maybe he can has more in depth so that we can get this tape to the right people. We need a lawyer. We need someone who really will take your case.
Absolutely.
I have an old buddy of mine who is an amazing lawyer in New Jersey, so that maybe we could get this tape to him ASAP. I have no interest, nothing at stake here. And I mean, it's not for a matter of celebration, or this is a matter of what you need to make a difference in your guy's life. I mean, if I could think of anything that has touched me so far in my life, this is it. Besides my own running away from things, but you need to be together. Yeah. She needs you to continue her studies. She needs you to know she needs to be safe. We need to have you take any kind of mental tests to prove that there's a wrong.
I've done that.
All right, you done it?
I was Children's Services sent me to Cabrini Hospital.
Yeah.
And to the mental
yeah.
facilities.
Yeah.
And they all said, but they wrote in dynamic reports,
right.
and they said there's nothing. That's what
I can see that.
The article. It's a sin what the New York Post did.
She also needs to be interviewed by professionals.
She was.
You have that. You have those records.
Yes.
All right. Your husband needs to take a lie detector test.
Yeah, I know.
Well, he has to be.
It'll go off the charts.
Well, no, but he has to be. You know.
He's a psychopathic liar.
Well, okay.
Which is normal for a cop.
Well, also abusers are.
They're trained liars. They're trained to be liars.
Let me ask you something else. How are you doing financially?
It's very difficult. Fortunately, people are helping us. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you who they are, but there is a network of people who are, taking care of us.
Yeah.
So we're provided in that way, of course.
If people want to make a contribution to you, to you, is there an email or something that they can do that?
No.
They can't. All right. Can they?
No. They
all righty. Maybe if some other we come up with something, maybe we can put at the end of the show, and we can have people look at this. Here you are on the.
The contribution would be a good attorney.
Okay, that'd be great. Well, if are there any lawyers out there who really want to take this case on?
Come.
Why don't you make an appeal? Talk to someone right here in that camera and say what you want, Dyandria.
I want a good lawyer. I want to stay with my mom forever.
Right.
And I don't want to go with my dad.
Right. And you don't want to go back into the system. And Dyandria, what do you think? Talk to the camera.
I'm also pleading for help. I went to the New York Post for help, and they wrote the story on such a slant. They left out all the information to show how the district attorney's office, namely Stephanie L. Hubblebank, took my ex-husband who abused my daughter. The abuse was called in by doctors at Bellevue Hospital. She gave him an alias on the state central register. His name is Gerard Joseph Murray. She changed his name to Jerry Moore so he would not be recognized on the state central register. So in other words, as a pedophile, it states that he sexually abused my daughter on the state central register. It gives his real birth date, his real phone number, and his real address, but they changed his name. So if he were to work in a daycare center, and where they always have to check the state central register, his name won't show up. Now, I brought this to the attention of the court, Judge Gloria Sosa-Lintner and Judge Susan Larrabee. These judges are so corrupt, they know that a false name was placed in the state central register, and they refuse to correct it. So they're all involved in this.
Do you need would a DA help here? Would that be part of the conspiracy?
That's a part of the conspiracy.
So who is the person? Who is a party? An objective individual that you could talk to?
We would need the media to break this open, actually, the major media, because once the can of worms opens up and how ugly this case is, then they can't hide and scurry like they've been doing and hiding behind the closed doors.
I'm going to ask you one question, and maybe you guys have thought about this. You mentioned that when you found out that there were other police officers who were abusers, and the blue veil, which we all know about. But I asked you what makes police officers abusers, is there something that attracts them to becoming a police officer? They don't think they'll be found out, or it's a protection, or they're cowards in design, and therefore when they have the gun, they can get over that. I'm sure you've spoken to other women whose children were in the situation. Can you all get together and can you actually have a voice?
Actually, I was hoping that would happen. I was hoping Dateline would cover this story for that reason. The fact that there is a class action suit going on right now, I cannot be a party to the class because custody wasn't given to my ex-husband yet. Once custody, if they do find us and custody is given to him, then I can be a part of the class action suit and then we can have a louder word. But why do police... I've spoken to professionals about this. First of all, to want to be a police officer, you have to have a bit of a psychopathic personality. You're underpaid. It's a macho thing. It's insecure people who take this job. I spent 11 years being with this psychopath, and I can tell you that the overwhelming majority of his friends who are cops and his father are alcoholics. So you're talking about alcoholism, you're talking about insecure personalities, they beat their wives, and yeah, they abuse their children, but you don't hear about this.
Do you find traits of being dishonest? Lying?
Yes, yeah, I would say so.
You find them to be disorganized, even though they were police officers?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can you give an example of disorganization?
Well, I'll give you an example of dishonesty. My ex-husband told me that he has placed many people in prison lying on the stand. And I asked him, why would you do such a thing? He told me, well, I had to. My commanding officer ordered it. I said, but don't you realize you destroyed people's lives? And his attitude was, so they had a rap sheet anyway. I said, but doesn't it occur to you that that rap sheet could have been created by other cops who lied on the stand? Obviously, he wasn't the only cop who lied on the stand. So if he's one detective who tells me he placed many innocent people in prison, what about all the other cops?
There's two things I want to ask you.
What kind of society
can you get to Geraldo?
No, he's bought into the system now.
Okay. So what about the new police officer, the new police commissioner, the one after Stanton?
No, they screen all of the public access television shows. They're watching this program.
Well, we're not live.
No, but even when when it airs.
Yeah. Okay.
If they don't come to you, that's your answer. And they want to keep everything under the carpet.
Okay.
So
we're talking about a lawyer, an independent lawyer, who actually has a high profile, who's well connected, interlaced with the media, or some organization that will say, this. How about the Women for Now, or Now for Women, or the Organization for Women?
Well, I called up Now. They said they couldn't handle a case like mine, but maybe they'll change their mind, because I looked in the library under 1983, I think it was. They did stand behind Dr. Elizabeth Morgan. So the fact that they did it then is now only interested when a case is already high profile, so they can jump on the bandwagon and be a part of the publicity. Or do they really help women like us who don't have major media behind us right now? I'd like to see that.
So now, how long have you been together so far?
It's been about, how long?
5 weeks.
5 weeks. And other 5 weeks, you literally have been on the lam.
Absolutely.
You've been using, I guess, little disguises to get out.
Absolutely.
Why do you stay in New York City, if I can ask?
Because I'm praying for justice. I have files, so many files and transcripts, ordered to show causes and motions to prove my case that my husband is guilty of child abuse, that the district attorney's office is guilty of covering up the child abuse, that family court judges Gloria Sosa-Lintner and Susan Larrabee are guilty of covering up child abuse, and I want these criminals behind bars where they belong. And I'm staying here. They want to place me behind bars. They want to place a woman in jail who has never been in jail before, has never committed a crime, and no, I did not kidnap my child. This is my child. They kidnapped my child.
Yeah, all you did was really, you really have fulfilled what she wanted and what you both wanted.
4 years.
I'm going to ask you just directly. if there was a bus or a plane ticket that you could actually just have some freedom for a while, would you accept it? To get out of the city?
I really would be happier having a high-profile attorney taking this case.
Okay, so then you don't want to be on the lam anymore. You
I'm
want to get
still
handled.
underground. No, I'm still staying
Yeah,
underground.
but I'm saying that, but you see,
I don't want to leave the state.
See, but this article says that you are on the lam. I just asked you a very personal question. It was not a setup.
I don't want to leave the state.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the lam anymore. You want justice.
Yes, I really do want to. I want to fight back. Like Kathy O'Brien says, go at them. I want to go at them. These are criminals. These are criminal judges. Stephanie L. Hubblebank from the DA's office. All of these people who are covering up for these low criminals like Leo Telfion and Eric Sanford from Children's Services. They're the criminals. And then so many people jumped in on the bandwagon to help them.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
What are we going to do about this? What question do you want to ask? What action do you want to take? We talked about a lawyer. You don't want to stay on the ground. You may need some kind of resources. You need some help.
I do need resources.
And you need advice.
And I need advice.
Obviously, you're going to wind up in the Gauhus, and obviously you're going to wind up separated. They're going to get. They're out there all the time. They have a warrant. You have a warrant.
Yes. Warrant for both of us. There's a warrant for her as well.
There are people in the middle of the night that you know. This is why it's very careful about what we do with this tape. I'm suggesting we don't air this tape. I'm suggesting that we give this tape to the right person, the right lawyers, and let them see it.
Air it.
It's
not live.
Okay. Well, all I'm saying is that they will get us. They'll get you. They'll get you. So you got to be very careful, very rational as to what we do with this tape, so that you get help and you get to stay together. So I think we've made our plea. We've asked. Now I think it's up to the people out there to say, if there is someone who can help the Dyandrias, please come forth. They just want to be together. It sounds like there's some he did it, she did it, and they're wrong and I'm right. But I think we have to get beyond that and be able to commune to get these two people together and to clear the record. So this is an opportunity. I don't know how it's going to be aired, shown, whatever, but I thank you very much. I know I have 5 minutes. I can stretch a little bit more, so I will. Tell me, what would happen from here if you went outside and you both got separated? Suppose there were police knocking at the door. Let's get to the point. Where you probably be sent to Rikers Island?
Absolutely.
And you'd be put back in the system.
I'll be placed in prison for some time. March 7th, 1997, I didn't tell you how they took my daughter. They broke my apartment door down.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Out of its hinges.
I'm not surprised. That must have been frightening.
She was standing behind it. It was more than frightening.
I mean, you are amazing to be this calm. You can listen. I mean, all you want to do is be together with your mom. And here you've got all these people telling you what you can do, what you can't do, and oh my God.
And for 4 years, I saw my daughter so sad.
Yeah, and she's very happy.
She's so happy, yes.
No, she looks so beautiful.
Every morning when we wake up together, she goes, I remember in the beginning, I told her, I said, Dyandria, this is probably only going to last 3 days.
Yeah.
Because 3 days. And then after that, I had no other place to stay.
Yeah.
I hadn't been underground. And so after the 3rd day, people ran out and they said, oh, you could stay here with me and you could stay with me.
Yeah.
And everybody's been opening their...
Your prayer worked?
Yes.
Did you pray?
Yeah.
Yes.
What'd you pray for?
I prayed that we can stay together longer than 3 days.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This is amazing. Well, what we're actually seeing also is something that is real. This story is not real. This is a slanted story. It looks good.
Totally
but
slanted.
It looks like they're out to get you.
Absolutely.
What's the reason? And I said to Gloria, what's the reason that they're out to get her?
My television program, my book.
What is so important about you two in this city that now that you're happy and together, why do you have to be on the lam?
Mm-hmm.
What do they care about it?
Because I've exposed the criminals in our government. I've exposed the judges. I've exposed the police department. The 19th precinct had me arrested, handcuffed, mugshots, for sending my ex-husband's boyfriend a blank letter. There's nothing written in the letter. They didn't lie about that. Nobody has ever, there was no investigation done, and nobody in the history of the 19th precinct has ever been arrested for sending anybody a blank letter. This is what the harassment I've been dealing with.
I'm going to ask for justice for all unto God, and ask for that Dyandria can just be joined as mother and daughter, and as two people who just love each other, and let's clear the table, let the facts live, and let them live. So thank you very much for watching. I want to thank Ozzy for giving me the opportunity to use his time. And this is Arthur English and Dyandria saying, please help. Thank you very, very much. If this goes on the air, this is Arthur English behind the scenes, Channel 56 on Tuesday nights, and we're concerned. We're concerned that these two people get help, and that when you see articles like this in the paper, know that there's another possibility, there's another perspective. And if you think that this article and this reality is a match, then you have a voice, and you can write to Mayor Giuliani. You can write to the commissioner. You can write to a lawyer friend. You can enroll somebody in helping them get to be together. So I thank you very much, and there'll be credits at the end that maybe we can help them. So thank you very, very much again. Please, let's make a difference here now. And we'll give you a report in 2 weeks of what happened here. So maybe they can show up in 2 weeks free. Okay? Thanks again. This is the power of television. This is the power of civil rights. This is the power of getting back at the abusers and at the system, at the Blue Veil. Thanks again, and good night.